Hopefully we're live. I think I've pressed all the right buttons. The thing says live, so I'm going to assume we are. Right, well, our first kind of all singing, all dancing Facebook Live, which is also streamed onto YouTube, was yesterday. We did the rail fence quilt. Minor issue with batteries and things like that, but we got most of the way through, and then I did a second part to finish it off, but I'm an idiot and I did not turn on my microphone. I believe it is on now because I have a red light. I'm going to assume that somebody is going to tell me whether it is or not. Thumbs up, thumbs down. We're going to say yes. We're going to say yes, it's all right. Let me just check. Yeah, everything looks good. Okay, so where we got to last night was we were in the process of sewing all 4 strips together. So you took your first 2 strips, did those together, all 12 meters. Then you cut that in half, so you had 2 6-meter pieces, swiveled it round, and then sewed them together to create this, your kind of all 4 meter, your 4 white strip width. Once you've got that, we need to now cut this down into squares. So if all your seam allowances have been absolutely perfect, then you should end up with an 8.5 inch width. Let me just switch this over to this one. There we go. So yeah, I've had to put a different camera up here. There's a red dot, can't get rid of it. We're just going to live. There's a red dot, can't get rid of it. We're just going to live with that. So what we've got here is we should have 8.5 inches because you started out with 4 lots of 2.5, which makes 10 inches. And then you've lost 2 half inches here, sorry, 2 quarter inches, so half an inch here, 2 quarters and 2 quarters, so half, 1, 1.5. So 10 inches minus your 1.5 gives you 8.5 inches. Now, I've checked this and it isn't quite 8.5 inches. Mine is a bit bigger. This is an 8.5 inch square. And as you can see there, if I line it up on this side, I've got a little bit extra just down here. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. As long as you check before you start cutting this, you'll be absolutely fine, because what we're after is we're after squares. So if you've got a quilting ruler, then brilliant. Measure whatever width it is and cut the same length, so you end up with squares. If you haven't got a quilting ruler, or you haven't got any kind of ruler with you, you can still do this. You need to fold it so that whatever the length is now becomes the height, and then mark one side, do the same for the other, and mark the other side. And then using a straight edge, let me just grab the bigger one there. These are our super squares. These are really, really handy if you're doing regular sized blocks, because it's got 4 different ones on each one. So this one is particularly useful because this is 10.5. So it'll give you 10.5, 8.5, 6.5, and 4.5, which when you take your quarter inches off, give you full 8 inch, 10 inch, etc. blocks. So once you've got your straight edge, then you are going to cut it out. So yes, you can use a rotary cutter on this if you have one. I personally am not a fan of them because I have cut myself on more than one occasion. So you're going to repeat that all the way along this strip. So all the way along this strip, you're going to do 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, or whatever your width ends up being. Once you've done that, you want to lay out all of your pieces. So let me just grab a few that I've cut already, because we've done this more than once already. Oh, hang on, it's gone off. Bear with me. There's a picture of my duck. Oh no, I've got to do Face ID. Oh no. Bear with, caller. Let me, because it's probably not wise that I put my password in. Oh no, that's not right. Let's try again. We're good? Yay, we're back. Okay, this we're sorting. We're working out what we need and what we don't need. So once you've got all of your pieces cut out, Actually, I think we need to do a fourth one of that so we can have the exact, we can have a 4 and then we can start assembling it. So again, I'm going to take that across, make sure I get a square. Whatever you do, make sure you cut all of your squares the same size. So if you haven't been that straight when you've sewn it together, and in some places it's 8.5 and some places it's, you know, maybe 8 3/4 inches, take whatever your smallest measurement is, because you can always cut them down, you can't, you know, make them bigger. Oh, hang on, we need to, we're not the right way up. I need it to just, oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. You can always cut them down, you can't make them bigger. So I would recommend that you kind of measure at 2 or 3 points down the whole length of what you've got. So on here, I'm just making sure I've got that square with the bottom. So I've definitely got a straight edge. And then I'll just shuffle that along so I can see both of those. And with this, I'm just using a normal biro. You can use your fancy kind of heat erasable pens and things if you wish. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's entirely up to personal preference. But because this is going to be kind of hidden in the seam allowances, I'm not that bothered by it. And I know this is a permanent ink and it's not going to run. If it was going to be something that was going to run, then yes, that would be an issue. So let's, I'm going to come this way a little bit. Right, so this is what you will end up with. And you should have ones that kind of continue on from one another. So these ones possibly, oh, they do. There we go. Perfect. So that's what you've had. You've had your strip, you've cut it into your squares, and then as you saw there, all I'm going to do is rotate the 2 ones on the diagonal to create my rail fence pattern. Now this is quite forgiving because you'll see all of your joins that you have there, they're all super easy because it's all white that's joining together. So if your joins aren't perfect, you won't see. And then your other joins that come along each of the sides, you're always going onto a flat edge, which again makes it much easier, makes it just look a lot neater. So from here, you are going to take these. I would advise you lay everything out before you start. I'm just going to switch because I think that one's going to go back off. Let's give it a nip. There we go. So lay them all out. So either, you know, on a bed, on the floor, on a big table, wherever you like. The 2-roll kit that we did on Create and Craft, or just 2 rolls, however you do them, that'll make you about 26, 27 blocks this size. So if you are super accurate, you'll probably get 27 out. Mine's a little bit bigger, so I'll probably get 26 out. So from that, you can, the 2 best options are either 24 and do a 4 across and 6 down to make a little rectangle, or you can do 25, which would be 5 across, 5 down, which will give you a square. So once you've got them laid out, lay absolutely everything out, and then you can look at putting them together. So take just 2 blocks at a time. If you start sewing all of the pairs together, you'll forget where you got up to, and you'll end up kind of, well, that doesn't fit, and that's not where I wanted that colour. So lay everything out. Obviously, I've only got big enough space to show you 4 blocks here, but lay the whole lot out in whatever pattern you want. Then, 2 at a time, fold it over, and then put either a clip or pins down the side that you want to sew, because it's very easy when you take it to the machine to forget, because they're squares, which side you want to sew and end up with it the wrong way around. So take the side that you want to sew, keep the side that's flat, that's got no seams on it, towards the back, and on the top you want all of your seams so that when you run it through the machine, you've got a really easy sew. You can see where your kind of your issues and your problems might occur, and it just makes life a lot easier. So let me just hit that, because I'm going to have to keep randomly hitting that now, because otherwise it'll go off. So let me just get these lined up. We're going to sew the 2 together, and then it's just a case of repeat this process for all of your pairs. Definitely, biggest tip I can give you is just do a couple at a time. If you try and like match up 6 of them and then run 6 lots all at once without writing numbers on the back or having some indication of where they go, it is so easy to get mixed up. So I would definitely recommend that if you are going to do it, you just do 2 at a time. Once you've sewn them, just quickly get that done. There you go. Then we're going to take it back and return it from whence it came. So it goes back into exactly the same position. Oh no, not again. Oh, I can't do Face ID, it's upside down. There we go. Back in the room. Let's make it straight. Got to go up there, then it's got to go down there, and we're straight again. So there's your first 2 together. You're going to repeat the process with this one. See, I'm going to fold it the same way, but this time this flat edge is on the top. So I'm going to make sure I pin that. Then I'll flip it, take it to the machine, and stitch that one up. Let's just do it, shall we? And then you repeat this all the way down, so you get them all into pairs. So if you're doing the 4x6 option, then you're going to end up with 2 pairs across and then 6 sets of pairs coming down. If you're doing the 5 option, 5x5, then what you're going to need to do, oh, I need to move this back a little bit, I'm not quite on the fabric there. What you're going to need to do is do 2 pairs, and then I would you can do a 3 if you want to, but ultimately you're going to have to join them together into rows anyway. So it's up to you whether you want to do 1 set of 3 and 1 set of 2, or you want to do the 2s and then a single row down the side and then add that on. Right, here we go. So once these have been sewn, press those seams because you want those to be nice and flat before you attempt the next bit. And the next bit is taking these 2 and joining them together. Now, with this, if I flip this over, you will see, let me just get you on the overhead one. There we go. You'll see that the first ones we sewed was so super easy because all of our seams were on the top. This time you will have some of those seams on the bottom. So definitely recommend, first of all, pinning where that centerpiece is there to make sure you get a nice, or you get a best match you can at that point. And then also, where the seams are underneath, it is definitely worth kind of pinning them open, or at least the first part, because the second part will naturally kind of, as the foot passes over it, can you see, if I do that, you see the first side of it flips over and the second side stays flat because it's already pressed in that direction. So just pin those first sections of those seams, and then you can take those out as you go past. Don't sew over your pins, it's never a good plan. Do take them out as you go past. So once these 2 are sewn together, then we should end up with, oh, that's another 2. So you see, if we were going to keep going, I mean, I've not got big enough space, but you can kind of see what I mean. Well, I could cheat, couldn't I? And put that one there, and then it will fill the screen. There you go. And you just keep building it up and up. But if you are doing it in the 4s, do your 4 together. Once it's sewn, it will look a lot like that. And you can see those seam allowances just nipping it in that little bit from where we had it. You're going to take these, you're going to join your 4s together. So if you're doing the pattern that would require 4x6, you'll end up with 6 of these big blocks. So you're going to put 2 side by side and then another couple of rows of them on the bottom. And it's exactly the same process. So the easiest way to do it is to join them into, if you're doing 4x6, take this one next to its friend here. Let's just turn that one around so it's correct. Have I sewn these the other way? Maybe I have. I have sewn them the other way. Because look, every time I turn it, it's going to match up that way. So if that is the case, This is, again, the reason why you lay everything out before you sew it, and you just do a couple at a time and return it, because they'll rotate either one way or the other way, and it is very easy to get yourself kind of turned around so they do go the other way. So make sure you lay everything out first. Obviously that one's the correct way around because that one is matching on perfectly. Sew them into fours, sew the fours together, but do them so you've got the shortest distance that you need to sew. So for example, when we've got all the pairs, 2 is our shortest distance, so we'd sew that to create the 4. When I've got my 4s down this side, 2 is my shortest distance, so I'll get my 2 runs of, I'll get my run of 4 here, 4 by 2, and then another run of 4 by 2, and then a third run of 4 by 2. So then when I come to sew them together, I've got a run of 4 rather than having to go top to bottom with a run of 6. So it's just, it's fewer things to join up, and the smaller the pieces that you're working with, the easier it is to be more accurate, because if you lose 1/4 of an inch for every block and you've got to join 6 blocks together, then that's 1.5 inches out by the time you get to the bottom. But if you're going the other way and you're only sewing 4 together, that, you know, could be up to 1 inch of error. Hopefully everything is perfect and you've done your measuring as we've explained, and everything goes together beautifully. But the shorter distances you can sew, the less opportunity you have to kind of create errors. So I hope that clears things up, because it's stopped, man. I hope that clears things up, because we did have some technical difficulties yesterday. It's all right. I've already been on the internet. I've ordered all the bits we need to stop this happening. And hopefully we'll do some more of these. So if you want to post in the comments or anything, let me know what kind of things you'd like us to show you, and we'll give it a go. But thank you for coming back and seeing the end of this with sound, which always helps. And we'll see you again. It's usually Tuesdays we do these, and sometimes it's lunchtime, and then sometimes it's 5 till 6. So if there's anything you want us to show you how to do, or any of our products that you'd like to know more about, pop some details in the comments and we'll get it done for you. So I'll see you next time. Bye.